The rainfall that started in the morning and increased in intensity during the day in Istanbul caused flooding in many areas. The state meteorologists have issued a warning as a weather forecast report predicts heavy rainfall to sweep across Turkey's provinces in the coming days, following the warning. Heavy rain hit Istanbul, with streets flooded with rainfall. The Turkish State Meteorological Service's latest 5-day forecast anticipates the onset of heavy rains, starting in the western and northern provinces, including Istanbul, on September 29th. Meteorologists caution that the heavy rain will extend to Thrace provinces and some southern regions on the subsequent days, potentially leading to sudden downpours. The forecast suggests that nearly the entire country, with the exception of a few northwestern provinces, will experience rainy conditions on October 1st. The rain is expected to gradually taper off at the beginning of the week, particularly in the Aegean region and inner cities. With the precipitation, a 3 to 5 degrees Celsius drop in air temperature is anticipated in western areas, while minimal temperature changes are expected in other regions. Istanbul residents can anticipate temperatures to hover around seasonal norms or remain 1 to 3 degrees below them until the end of the first week of October. The meteorologists have issued a cautionary advisory urging citizens to remain vigilant against adverse weather conditions, including sudden floods, lightning, and strong winds that may accompany the heavy rainfall. Recent heavy rainfalls in various regions of the country have already disrupted daily life. In Istanbul, the rain paralyzed the city as the streets were flooded. In the western province of Aydın's Kusadasi district, heavy rain lasting for just 10 minutes transformed roads into lakes, causing significant difficulties for drivers. Particularly affected were the roads in the Turkmen neighborhood and along the coastal strip. The municipal teams have initiated efforts to address the road-related issues that emerged after the intense rainfall. In nearby Kanakkale Province's Lapsiki district, floods occurred due to the sudden downpour. The water level of Kokaba stream rose significantly, and an unused fishing boat sank in the Sınırlıdere stream. The heavy rain turned streets into temporary waterways, impeding vehicle movement. A motorbike courier was swept away by floodwaters in Istanbul's Aketali district. To save the courier, who was being dragged along by the motorbike, the person on the side of the road jumped into the water and brought the courier to the side of the road. The motorbike continued to float in the water. The incident was recorded by someone nearby with a cell phone camera. The images were shared on a page called Havadis in Istanbul. In districts such as Arnavutköy, Başakşehir, Esenyurt, Sultan Gazi, and Beylikdüzü, roads turned into lakes due to heavy rain, and vehicles had difficulty driving in traffic. Increasing rain at night also caused flooding in many areas. Several residents were stranded. The river overflowed at Arnavutköy Teyakitan Turkos Metki. One of the workers in the container held onto a tree to avoid being swept away by the water. Istanbul Governor Davut Gül, social media in his post on his account, he said, "Dear citizens of Istanbul, heavy rain continues throughout our city and it is expected to rain until the morning. Please immediately evacuate from areas at risk of flooding." Many barns around the river were flooded. One of the containers around the river was swept away by floodwaters. These moments were reflected on the cell phone camera. An elderly husband and wife, who had a house and warehouse at the bottom of the river, were rescued with the help of residents. The old couple's animals in the cage were moved with the help of the local community. The stream overflows at Teyakitan Turkos Metki. One of the workers in the container was propped against a tree to prevent being swept away by the water. The scoop operation was organized to save workers waiting in the flood. The worker who rescued him with a spoon was taken to a safe area with applause. Flooding occurred on the highway in Bayrampaşa Ortamahol due to heavy rain. A woman walking on the sidewalk was caught in floodwaters while trying to cross the road. It is known that the woman who was dragged was rescued by local residents. After heavy rain in Basaksehir, stranded vehicles began to be towed by tow trucks. When the vehicles stuck on Suleiman Demirel Boulevard began to be towed with the help of a tow truck. Several cars were seen completely submerged in the water. Due to heavy rain in Gizeo's Mampiza, the Taskapur station of the Topkapi Mesudai Salam tram line was flooded. And the Mesudai bridge was also flooded. In Istanbul Beylikdüzü, waterlogging occurred on Mustafa Kemal Boulevard due to heavy rain. Manholes in front of several workplaces on Cumhuriyet Road in the Mimar Sinan neighborhood overflowed. Metro Istanbul noted disruption to some tram and cable car services due to the rain. In the statement, the TF1 Makadas Kisla and TF2 AYIP pair Lodi cable car lines have been closed to operation due to bad weather. Due to heavy rain on our T4 Topkapi Mesudai Salam tram line, our services were carried out between Topkapi Station and Kiptas Venetia T5 Eminonu Alabekoy Pocket Bus Terminal Tram. Due to heavy rain on our line, our flights were operated between Eminonu and University stations. Making a statement after the rains and floods, Istanbul Governor Davut Gül said, "We warned about this yesterday and we warned today as well. Istanbul will receive heavy rain until tomorrow afternoon. We ask our citizens not to stay in risky areas. Flooded, did not stay in the basement and called 112. A homeless man known as Silent died from drowning in floodwater collected in the Unkapani underpass. CHP executives, who could not say a word to Ikram and Mamaglu because the manholes were not cleaned, immediately blamed the previous government. Rivers in Hazem Asli district overflowed due to heavy rain. The workers were trapped in two buildings used as marble and furniture factories in the area. 7 workers climbed onto the roof of the building and called the fire brigade and asked for help. Firefighters and medical teams were dispatched to the scene. However, due to the high water discharge, the team could not intervene with the workers. A helicopter was requested to the area to rescue the workers. Due to the rain, the road in the area where the Catalca Ferhat Pesa district Thursday market was established collapsed. 2 vehicles on the road at the time fell into a ditch. Although there were no fatalities in this incident, material damage occurred to the vehicle. In Beylikdüzü, where vehicles were literally floating on water-filled roads, many workplaces were also flooded. The traders whose workplaces were flooded due to IMM's lack of intervention almost revolted. Istanbul residents, who evaluated water in buckets, said authorities did not help them in responding to the searches. A woman who could not hide her anger at the lack of intervention said, "Every year, goods worth 50,000 to 70,000 TL are wasted. We did our best, but we couldn't save him. The lines there were overflowing all the time. We called the fire brigade, and he directed us to SK. SK said, there is press in about 130 places. We cannot come. We somehow take care of ourselves." Meanwhile, firefighters rescued trapped students at Mehmet Zeki Abdin Primary School, whose garden was flooded in Arnavutköy. An ambulance was stranded on a water-covered road on its way to hospital. A day earlier, Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality Mayor Ikram Imamoglu pointed out that the city's dams were empty, which spent the entire summer with low rainfall, and called on Istanbulites to use water sparingly. Due to heat waves, the number and impact of which are increasing due to global warming and the lack of rainfall, sudden excessive rainfall and associated flooding events are now commonplace during or after periods of drought that occurs throughout almost the entire Mediterranean basin. Experts say that as the climate changes, the water cycle is also changing. He pointed out that a warming atmosphere holds more moisture and releases more precipitation.